Okay.
We can tribute afterward, never mind.
Okay, so good morning, good evening, or good afternoon to whatever time zone you are. We are from Group 3 for UHLB, and we will begin our SWOT discussion analysis on Starbucks, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so the first SWOT analysis, which is S, is strength. So anybody within 6 of us have any ideas or any opinions on the strength of Starbucks in Australia?
I think I can start first.
Right.
Would like to add a point to the Starbucks strength. So as a global company, right, the Starbucks has a wealth of capitals. They have abundance of funds. They have a lot of money, and it is present all around the world. So I think it is an advantage that compared to the local small coffee shop with a limited budget. So they can use their farms to capture the markets in a variety of ways. Like they can advertise their stores. They can make it everyone knows there will be a new Starbucks coming soon in the future in that place. They can also conduct a research to find the best favorite local coffee flavors that are sweeter native, or they can take advantage of their competitors' lack of capitals to rapidly open stores in multiple locations in every place to fill in the blanks of the coffee market in Australia. I think that's one of its strengths. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Le because if we have abundant funds, so that means they will compare to the local coffee shop. Local coffee shop they have lack of the funds to make more creative about the coffee shop or about the branch the logo themselves. So I think the abundant fund will make a great strength for the coffee shop. Yeah.
Right, thank you. So I believe that we all agree that Starbucks has abundant funds to build up a franchise in a foreign country. So before moving on to the next SWOT analysis, which is weaknesses, anybody would like to add on to the strength? The floor is yours.
May I?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
For me, because since the Starbucks is founded in the early 1990s, Starbucks has strived to build its brand identity by offering customers a relaxing and enjoyable experience. In addition, Starbucks also have built their brands on things that tend to be out of the box by consistently defying conventional wisdom. For example, instead of rigorous and complex customer surveys, Starbucks chose casual and informal chats with the customers to capture an overall mood and understand more with the store and gather valuable feedback. The clever and innovation ways of understanding its customers have enabled Starbucks to build an iconic global brand that has resonated with customers across the world for over 50 years now. So by offering a pleasure and relaxing customer experience, Starbucks has been successful in focusing the customer's attention on the quality of the experience, the enjoyable memories that can be woven together in its stores, and not just on the pricing of its products. An interesting piece of research conducted in 2013 using the neuroscience research technique in Germany, it suggested that the customer would be willing to pay more for Starbucks coffee if the brand decides to charge it. Because neuroscience research looks at the charge in brain activity when exposed to brands and the price point, the result were considered more believable than traditional market research. The real-world evidence of this power in mind for the brand is that the popularity level it enjoys, even though the pricing is higher than many of its same competitors. Yeah, that'll be it from me.
All right. Thank you. Anybody has anything to say to add on to G's point? All right, nobody. Okay, I believe so. Starbucks is indeed a famous brand that we have all heard. Even me, I'm not a coffee lover. I know what is a Starbucks. Everybody here knows what's a Starbucks, right? All right,
The green
that's fine. Now we move on to the next SWOT analysis, which is weaknesses. So I'll open the floor to anybody who would like to begin with any weaknesses that we find.
Okay, I would like to share about the weaknesses of Starbucks. One of the weaknesses that I found from Starbucks is the coffee culture. Different country may have their own coffee culture. Australians treats coffee as a medium to gather and like work together in a group, while Starbucks treats coffee like a product. It is hard for the local citizens to adapt to a new culture. And by comparing to the Korea jeans, it has around 400 branches all around Australia. The main reason that Korea jeans defeats Starbucks is due to the variety of its menu that could fulfill the local taste. So in this case, I think Starbucks can do some modification in its menus to overcome this weakness. So this is some point of my view from the weakness of Starbucks.
All right, thank you, Kaiser. So, anybody has anything to add on to the weaknesses in Starbucks?
Can you hear
Yes.
me?
Oh, yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Yes, Kaiser, you are right. Their product were not customized for the local audience. Beside, in my opinion, low buying power in other country will be one of their weaknesses to expand its business to that country. Starbucks has priced its product in the premium to the media tiers of the market segment, which places its product outside the budget of many working consumers. They cost higher price to cover their expenses for high quality ingredients, store decoration, which is very comfortable, and the placement of their store where rent expenses is higher for high traffic area like shopping mall. So for low income countries, most of the people are not affordable to pay extra for their coffee. Therefore, Starbucks has lost part of their market on low income class individuals.
Okay, thank you, Yihao. Kaiser, would you like to add on to the weaknesses?
Yes, I totally agree with Yihao, and I also found another weakness of Starbucks, which is the rapid growth of Starbucks will erode the customer's experience. According to the research, Starbucks has opened too many branches in Australia in a short duration. This situation let Australians feels like it is convenient and can get Starbucks from everywhere. It is kinda related to the marketing psychology. The harder the things to obtain, the precious the thing will. Moreover, Starbucks is too self-confident, thus negated the main weakness of the brand, the coffee culture, like I mentioned just now. They don't really giving the Australians to develop an appetite for Starbucks brand. Yeah, that's all my views on the weakness of Starbucks.
All right, thank you. So now we know that there are many weaknesses in Starbucks trying to open a franchise in Australia, but now we can look into the opportunities that they obtain through this venture. So anybody would like to give their opinion? Anybody at all?
I have some insights for their opportunities. Allow me. Starbucks idea portal is a nice start, but the Starbucks needs to have a strong innovation strategy in place to compete effectively in the international markets. So for Starbucks, innovation can be from bringing new products into markets to encompassing many internal functions, such as innovation in channel communication, innovation in organizational cultures, and innovation in implementing cost-cutting and efficiency-enhancing strategies. So in addition to expanding their beverage portfolio to include maybe alcoholic beverages, the next opportunity lies in the innovation of their food products served in the stores. Because many of Starbucks' global competitors position themselves as not only the coffee outlet, but also more like a cafe. So innovation in food is specifically important for Starbucks to establish foothold in emerging markets or where the coffee drinking culture is in its nascent stage. In many Asian and Latin American countries, coffee drinking is a mealtime ritual where the importance of food consumption is very high. To consolidate in such market, having a differentiated food offering in its stores will be critical for Starbucks. To be more specific and to tackle the problem in Australia, regional menus that suit the Australian style and taste must be introduced to gain popularity in the locals.
All right, thank you. Le, it seems like you have something to say for the opportunities.
Yes, I have something
Yeah.
to say.
You may proceed.
In terms of opportunities, I would like to add a point after, as what Kaiser has said, there are different cultures in the Australia. So we can place emphasis on the visitor numbers. The visitor numbers can also be a breakthrough for the Starbucks. So from 2017 to 2018, Australia has hosted more than 9 million of visitors. So it's acceptable for Starbucks to shift their target customer from the local populations to the tourists who like the Starbucks more, the Starbucks coffee, like the Americans or the Chinese people, they are more like the Starbucks coffee rather than the Australians. So basically, if the Starbucks were going to implement this approach, it means that they are tying their business with the Australia local, the tourism industry. Yeah, that's what I want to say.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh yes, proceed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea. But I have one question. As we know, the current COVID-19 pandemic is leading to significant changes in terms of people economic behavior, which will impact the tourism too. Do you think that tourist volume is still one of their opportunities?
Yes, actually, I do agree with you, and it did in the recent years. But every country now is in the recovery phase now, actually, and they are trying their best to get rid of the epidemic impact. They don't want that. They want their tourists become more and more. I think it will be getting better and better. Like I am having a report here from the Australian Bureau of Statistics. Is when I finding a report, there are nearly 600,000 arrivals in April 2022. So although it did not reach to the step before the pandemic, before the COVID-19 pandemic, but I think everything will get better in the future. Same goes to the Starbucks business, which is interrelated with the local tourism. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I agree with you.
All right. Thank you, guys. So, anybody has anything to say before we proceed into the threats that is available? If not, then I will end the opportunities with one last point, which is they are able to learn from the experience from this venture. So as we all know, Starbucks is a huge company. Okay, as a huge company, they have tried businesses in a lot of areas in the economy. So what the result of this business venture, where they go into a foreign country, can be taken as a lesson. The Malaysians like to say menjadi satu teladan. Okay, so the knowledge obtained can be used when venturing into other foreign countries that have never been touched yet. I don't know where the Starbucks haven't ventured yet, but the result of this failure, the starting failure of this venture, can be used when they want to go to another foreign country. So that is all for opportunities. So can we go into the last SWOT analysis, which is the threats? Anybody would like to go first? All right, no problem. I will go again. Okay, so for one of the threats that I identified for our SWOT analysis is the inflation of raw materials. Okay, so as we all know, the prices of everything are increasing now these days. Okay, so this could be a huge threat to Starbucks. And on average, the prices on the menu of Starbucks is already above the normal prices for other coffee franchises. For example, Starbucks against Old Town White Coffee. I think we all agree Starbucks is much more expensive, few ringgits above Old Town White Coffee's prices. So with the cost of raw materials increasing, Starbucks, the company itself, have no choice but to increase the price of their own products, which is already at an all-time high. Okay, so this will lead to a lesser number of customers that are being able to afford the drinks. Right now, people may afford the drinks once or twice a month, but after this, maybe not at all because of the increasing prices. Anybody have any opinions on that, or we are all agreed?
Yeah,
Okay,
agree.
yeah, wonderful. All right. So anybody have any more input on the threats of
I think I
Starbucks?
want to add more about the threats. So since we know that why the Starbucks coffee has failed in the Australia, so one of the reasons is due to the high competitive coffee market in Australia. So as we can know that Australia has the tougher coffee market because we could see that there are a bunch of the internationally branded and local coffee shop covering Australia. So Starbucks coffee had expanded rapidly and thoroughly all over the targeted location in Australia, so which had recorded about 87 coffee shops. However, it did not work well in terms of the customer spread and also the signalizations of its brand because there were many local branded coffee shops serving around the locations with more localized flavor and low price products compared to Starbucks coffee. Okay, so for instance, one American coffee company was growing prosperously in Australia, non-Gloria Jeans. They recorded 35 million Australians consumer each year, illustrating how successful they have been due to its wide variety of the menus with the more comfortable and suited flavor towards the local customers. Thus, the analyzations and the survey of the market must be preliminary consideration and procedure before the rapid integrations to the market to develop the appetite for the Starbucks brand and secure the adaptations period of development. And the second one I want to emphasize about is the financial crisis. As we know, in 2008, it was a difficult time for all type of business in the market. There was no exemptions for Starbucks coffee shop. The financial crisis happened in 2008 had ended up the results of shutdown of 600 US store and also 75 store in Australia. So this could be due to the low consumption rate than profit, indicating the sign of proof for the effects of rapid growth towards the financial crisis. So the estimations of the loss for the Starbucks coffee in Australia was about 105 million. That's for my point. Anyone want to add more?
Yes, I very agree with both of your points, but for me, I personally more attracted to the first point because aside from the price itself, the flavor of Starbucks is not very much the same as the coffee we drink in kopitiam or mama, and those coffees in mama and kopitiam are the taste we have drink from since we are very young, and until now we are still going there to lepak and I don't know, like kenkai and all that. So and it is is very cheap compared to Starbucks, and that is why I think it is why it is endangering the market for Starbucks.
I have something to add also. Sorry.
Let's proceed.
For the log points for the financial crisis, I partially agree. I do partially agree, since the financial crisis not only happened for the Starbucks, but also for the whole coffee sector. So, but the Starbucks strong capital change will sustain it, will make it impossible to be easily defeated. But the small capital coffee shops like cafes will easily bankrupt or went out of business when something happens, like the most evidence example will be the COVID-19. Yeah, COVID-19 happens, a lot of coffee shops and bankrupt. So I don't think so this is only for the Starbucks.
Okay, I need to add about you just now you said, but I agree with you. I also partially agree, but because in Starbucks, because when there happened the financial crisis, not only the shop have happened this, but also the employee, because they will cause the loss of employment from the, so when they had lack of the employer from the from the Starbucks coffee shop, so it will cause like they'll shut down the shop, so they will not continue to do because the lack of the people there. So I think this is also a problem there.
All right, thank you everyone. Before we end today's discussion, if anybody have any more inputs or opinions on our SOWT SWOT? All right, everybody seems to be happy with what they have said. Just to add to G's point just now, I don't believe that Australia has a mama. Have anybody been to Australia before? Does Australia have a mama? All right, how is it? Okay, then
But of course they have their own.
we just add that question mark there when we end our discussion today.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Australia has mama. That'll be interesting. Should visit there once in a while. So anything else? No. All right. Thank you. This has been Group 3 and our discussion on Starbucks in general. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Check the video. It's there. No?